What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Bounded and Bookmarked. I am so glad that you're here. Obviously, I haven't been around for the past 3 weeks. As you can clearly tell, I am back. I took a quick little brief break from posting on YouTube because I had spring break recently, but I also had a lot going on, so I just kind of wanted to take advantage of the break and just tend to myself and my own needs for 3 whole weeks, and I did that. So I feel a lot more refreshed, a lot more refined, and I'm ready to get back into book reviewing. And I have a vlog coming up soon, which is nice, and I have a tentative spring TBR coming up soon as well, so keep your eyes peeled for those videos. So because I haven't posted in a while, YouTube, the algorithm, I'm sure won't be very happy with that. I don't know who's gonna see this video. So if any new people are in the building today and you happen to come across this video, hi, this is Bounded and Bookmarked, and I am Jaleesa, and this is a wrap-up video for what I've read over spring break in the past month and a half, I guess. So the first book that I finished in February was Yinka, Where's Your Husband by Lizzie Damalolo Blackburn. I actually hauled this book in my last video and I kind of briefly talked about it a little bit. So this story follows Yinka. She's 31 years old. She is unmarried. She is Nigerian and lives in the UK. She has a very large, very nosy family. I can't really relate to the nosy part, but I can relate to the large family part. I have a large family and we're very close. We talk all the time. Yinka's cousin is getting married. She has a wedding coming up and Yinka needs a date to her cousin's wedding. She is single right now and she also is jobless right now, so she has a lot to contend with. Yinka's mother is very hard on her. Her mother puts a lot of pressure on her romantic life because she doesn't want her to be lonely and, you know, to grow up alone and all that kind of stuff and to experience life by herself. But her mom has a really bad way of showing why she cares about that. Yinka is set on finding a man for her cousin's wedding so that her mom can get off her back, basically. To top it all off, Yinka's little sister is already married and is pregnant, about to have a baby. So Yinka just really feels like everybody else in her life is married or having kids or has a job at least, and she just feels really behind. She actually ends up getting set up with this guy that her mother knows from her church, and his name is Alex. Alex is the kind of guy who just seems way too good to be true. Yinka ends up dating him. He is often telling her how she's not like that nice. She's not that Nigerian, you know, like she can't cook certain food, she can't speak Yoruba, like all these things that make her less of a Nigerian woman than the women that he knows. But what she ends up doing is she ends up changing her whole persona for this man. I mean, this story has just a lot of layers in this, especially when it comes to the internal conflict that Yinka feels with being single, with wanting to have kids, wanting to be married, with not feeling Nigerian enough, with at one point even not liking the way she looks because of the preference of other people. She didn't really struggle with her complexion or her looks or her hair until she met Alex. So I mean, I liked the internal conflict. I feel like it was fitting for the story. Some people won't like that she was questioning if she was beautiful or not because of her skin or her hair. Some people will like it because they can relate to it. I personally didn't mind it so much in this story. I obviously don't feel that way now. There was a point in my life when I did, and I was much younger, but everyone doesn't come to terms with who they are and end up loving and accepting themselves until much later in their life, and that's fine. Everyone's timeline is different, so I get why people may not like that. I gave this book 4 stars. I felt like Lizzie did such a great job with grounding us in Yinka's personality and who she really is. That way we were able to tell the difference between who she was becoming, and all her relationships and friendships were orbiting kind of around her, and so I never got lost or pulled too much in one direction. I stayed very grounded in Yinka, but I knew enough about her relationships to know who meant what to her. The whole discussion of family, magnificent. The drama, the chaotic just conversations, everything. I loved it because some family members had secrets. You really saw how that manifested in their relationships and why certain people just didn't click or why some clicked more than others. And I thought that was great because let's be real, we don't always know everything going on with our family. And I loved how Yinka assumed certain things about her cousins and her sister that just weren't true. I had one qualm with this story, and that was the end. I felt like it was a bit rushed. It's okay. I do feel like the conflict at the end was almost resolved and too quickly, but then it's like, okay, well, in families you really shouldn't take too long to resolve certain things, but it doesn't always happen that way. But I personally enjoyed the story quite a bit. It was funny. I thought it was very entertaining. So I can't wait to see what else Lizzie writes. I'm a fan already, so I'm excited to see some new stuff. This is my second book by this author. This author, SK Ali. I actually read one of SK's books that was like in conjunction with another author. It's like a picture book. Anyway, I loved it. So moving on, I read Love from A to Z. This book sits right here in my heart. This story was just so beautiful. It was so relatable for different reasons. We follow Zainab and we follow Adam, and these two characters meet in an airport for the first time, and from then on their lives are not the same. They are basically now orbiting around each other, and they end up meeting again on the plane, and then they end up meeting again in Qatar. So Zainab is a Muslim girl, the only one in her class. She wears her hijab to school everywhere, and her teacher is Islamophobic and is very blatant in class. And so Zainab is not quiet, okay, in class. She's very outspoken about her opinions about that, and she's not afraid of any backlash. She feels like it's in her to be an activist, to speak up when it needs to be spoken, and I get it 1000%. Like Zainab, I'm very passionate about what I believe in, and so Zainab ends up getting in trouble at school because she wants to lead this revolution. Well, she gets caught from the teacher's perspective making a threat against him, which is not the case. From his eyes, she was threatening him. She gets suspended from school. She gets sent to stay with her aunt for a couple weeks for spring break. That's when she meets Adam. Adam has multiple sclerosis. He just got diagnosed a few months before he meets Zainab, and he has not yet told his dad or his family or any of his friends. He's struggling with this because he's already starting to feel the physical effects. He's struggling even more with this because he doesn't want to hurt his father, who's already grieving his mother, who passed away from MS. The thing about Zainab and Adam is that they both have this journal called Marvels and Oddities, and marvels are like the good things, the kind of the surprising moments in your life that are just you didn't see coming, that are amazing. Oddities are kind of like your not so great experience. It's kind of like, ugh, you know, like it's where you kind of discuss what's troubling you. And they both have these journals and they didn't know. So that journal connects them. And this whole book is basically a story that's written through their journal. So we get to read their marvels and their oddities and their experiences together. And that's how it's told to us, which I thought was so brilliant. I loved that. It was just like reading their diaries. When it came to their romance, it was so sweet. I feel like Zainab, though she was passionate, people thought she was angry for no reason. They didn't understand why she expressed herself the way that she did. And for a while, Adam didn't understand either until he took the time to talk to her and get to know her, and then he understood. Her parents wanted her to stay out of trouble, and she realized that there are ways to get your point across, and then there are ways. And she never shied from her fierceness and her passion. And then when Adam met Zainab, he realized very quickly that he had to tell his family about his MS diagnosis. The two of them walked through their challenges together throughout the whole story, and I loved that. Both of these things are heavy on teenagers. Personally speaking, I know what it's like to feel like Zainab. People look at a lot of Black and POC people as being a problem to solve. And then I also understand how, in a way, how Adam feels. I know exactly what it's like to have an autoimmune disorder and to have it feel like it's limiting you sometimes. You know, life can be hard, but it can also be very sweet, and it can be full of love and full of great friends and great family and great people. I really loved this book so much. I'm gonna have to read Saints and Misfits now. That's the next one on my list because I loved it. Okay. So the last book that I read, Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn. It did not hold up to my expectations, unfortunately. So I struggled with giving this book 2.5 stars or 3 stars, but once I kind of sat down with the story and I really kind of analyzed it apart from the enjoyment factor, it's lacking a lot. So this book follows Joan, Aaron, and Nick. Joan and Aaron come from 2 monster families that are rivals. They hate each other. Joan is a Hunt, Aaron is a Oliver. Different monster families have different powers and abilities. So for example, Joan's family, they can steal things and hide it in places that only they can find. The Oliver family, they basically have the ability to see things, so they can see the difference between a human and a monster. It's very rare, but some of them can also tell which family you come from based on your eyes, and that's not an ability everyone has. All monsters can time travel, so in order for them to time travel, they have to steal time from humans. If you lightly graze their neck, you can steal a year, 2 years, 20 years, and you can travel in time. Basically, you can travel on any part of the timeline. Nick's character comes into play because Nick is a human and he's a human hero, which basically means that his whole destiny is to kill all of the monster families and to make sure that no more monsters are born, because they shouldn't be taking years and time from humans. So here's the thing. I had fun. I liked the ideas of different timelines coming into play. I liked the idea of time travel. I even liked the idea of having monster families and two which didn't like each other and then being forced to work together. For the first half, enough was happening that kept me kind of on the edge of my seat. I was a bit nervous as to what was gonna happen next. For that reason, I did have fun with this. So now we get on to what I didn't like. When you read the description of this book, it's a bit misleading. You get the sense that Joan and Aaron are coming from two very strong and very much enemies. You think that they loathe each other. Like, that's what we're told. We're told that they just hate each other. And even the characters in the book will say things like, you know, we hate the Olivers or we hate the Hunt. But I never actually felt like they hated each other because we're told that by the characters. We're never actually shown it. I thought there would be more scenarios and more scenes in the book where the Hunts and the Olivers were in the same vicinity and you can just feel the distaste. You can just feel the hatred between the two of them. I never felt that. Partially because neither of their families were in the same place for very long at any point in this book. The only two members of the families that were together for a while were Joan and Aaron, but they actually care about each other. So it was confusing. You know, you get this idea that monsters are really bad. Stealing time from humans is really horrible because you shorten their life when you do that. This book is written in a way that you never really feel like they're morally great characters. Because yeah, they're stealing time from humans, but you never see anything happen to the humans. So it's like, how bad are these monsters? You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't really get an example. You're just kind of told like, oh, they take X amount of years off people's lives, but it's like, we don't really see what that looks like, you know? I didn't really feel like they were monsters per se. It just felt like they were humans who had these extra abilities. That's what it felt like to me. And then the pacing was fast, but almost too fast in the last half of the book because it was like, so much was happening so quickly, it felt like the book was done. Like, this felt like a standalone book. And although at the end, there are definitely some unanswered questions, but they're almost forgettable. Like, you almost don't care about the ending and what questions are left unanswered. It's almost like you'll be fine if another book's never written. So I don't think the ending was very strong. It would benefit from some like developmental edits because I think that although some parts were really beautifully written, I think that the monster family portion needs more. It needs some more substance. I did put on my Instagram page that people who enjoy the Marvel Phase 4 timeline aspect would enjoy this because in this story there's a thing called the true timeline. Joan and Aaron are basically trying to get back to the true timeline by killing Nick. Basically, it would fix all of what Nick has done so far in this book, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, it just needs some developmental editing, and then I think it would be a really strong story. It just did not come together like I thought it was going to, which is really unfortunate, but hopefully book 2 is a lot better. So just kind of like a quick schedule, I guess, or whatever. After this video goes up, be on the lookout for a spring tentative TBR. I'm also going to start a vlog today, which is very exciting as well, and you will see a new hobby that I picked up, which you guys might be very interested in. But anyway, I am so glad to be back on YouTube. I missed all of you very, very much. So I will see you guys in my next video, and yeah, thanks for joining.